To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Jimmy, Scout Law.
Scout oath will go to Philip.
What did you say, Jimmy?
The scout oath will go to Philip.
Philip.
Signs up. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty and to God and my country, and to obey the Scout law, and to help other people at all times, and to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. 2.
Thank you, Philip. Scout oath, Jimmy.
Signs up. On my honor, I'll do my best to do my duty and to God and my country, and to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and I'm morally straight.
Okay, good. And now the last one, outdoor code. Ethan, why don't we hear from you?
As an American, I'll do my best to be clean in my outdoor manners, to be careful with fire, be considerate in the outdoors, and be conservation-minded.
Okay, good. And welcome back, Ethan. It's nice to see you. Okay, guys, on the slide today, we've got a full plate for testing and sea stuff, and then a class on poisonous plants. For you guys that missed last week, Jimmy and Ethan, I just got a video done yesterday of what we did last week for the meeting. And I'll post that later this morning so you can catch up. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is test on the 2.5 hitch. And the guys that need to test are Ethan, Jimmy, Max, Cammy, and Gab. After that, we're going to do the taut line hitch for everyone so that we can get these checked off on your accomplishment sheet. Then we're going to talk about poisonous plants. We're going to talk about how to avoid having accidents so that you need to use first aid. We're going to talk about what goes in a first aid kit, an individual first aid kit. For you guys that are taking the pet care merit badge, Philip, Ethan, and AJ, are you're taking it too, right, Jimmy? Okay, you guys, after you watch the video from last week, you'll know how to fill out a blue card for it. A reminder, next week, we're going to be having a merit badge on fingerprints. And Mr. Sean will be presenting that. You need an ink pad. If you don't have an ink pad, you can have somebody in your family buy one at the bookstore at SM. Or if you're not going to go to the bookstore, you can order one on Shopee. And it costs about 114 pesos. But you need to do that in the next day or so that you have it ready for next Saturday. Okay, now we're going to talk about the PE update. Last week, we had some guys that didn't know how many exercises they've done. And they didn't have a good answer for the box to do the back stretch. So here is AJ's exercise worksheet. And how many days have you done, AJ? Okay. Next one on my list, Tristan's absent. Okay, let's see. We saw his score sheet, and here is the box that he uses for the back stretch. And Tristan has one just like that. So next on my list is Philip. Where's your score sheet? Have you got it, Philip? Can I see it? Okay, how many weeks do you have?
I did.
No, not how many. How many times have you exercised?
Oh, 12 times.
Well, okay, very good. What about your box? Do you have that? Can I see it?
Okay, wait.
All right. Adrian, turn on your camera, please. Joshua, turn on your camera. You got it, Philip? Can I see it? Can you hold it in front of the camera?
My box?
Yeah.
I thought I already did it. Okay, wait.
Okay, good. All right. Big check mark for you, Philip. Next on my list is Max and Gab and Cammy. They're not here. Okay, Jimmy, have you got your exercise box?
Me and my sisters are sharing it, so like they forgot at someone's house, so they're gonna get it like today. So I can
All
do my.
right.
So I have to catch up
Okay.
on
All right. Where's your score sheet?
right here.
How many times have you done? How many days
8
have you
days.
exercised?
8 days.
8?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Ethan. I remember you were doing your back stretch using the steps or stairs. And that's okay. I'll give you credit for that. You can do it without the box. Have you got your score sheet?
Mine's downstairs.
How many weeks have you exercised?
3 weeks.
3? No, I mean, how many days?
9.
What?
9.
Okay. All right. And then I've got Victor on my list. Yeah, Victor, are you doing exercises? You've already got Tenderfoot, is that right, Victor?
Not yet, sir.
Okay, have you been doing exercises?
No, sir.
All right, you need to get up to speed and get a box for the back stretch. And you need to get a score sheet to track your progress. I'll ask to see those next week. Okay, Kevin, please turn your camera on. Kevin, can you hear me? I guess Kevin can't hear me. All right, so we've looked at boxes and scorecards. Okay, here's what the 114 peso ink pad looks like. Just a reminder, have one for next Saturday. Mr. Sean will be teaching and he's a retired policeman. All right, this is a review for you guys that didn't do the double half hitch last week, Ethan and Jimmy. That's how you do the double half hitch. So Jimmy, I guess you can be first to show me how to do the double half hitch. You've got a stick and your string, is that right? Okay, that's good having that stick up like that. It's very hard to hold the stick and do the knot also. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Can I come back? I'll just get a better rope.
Okay, Jimmy. Ethan, go ahead, you're next. Please do the double half hitch. Go ahead, Ethan. Are you finished, Ethan?
Wait.
Okay.
Done.
Hold that up close to the camera, Ethan. Okay. All right, Ethan, good. Just a minute, guys. I'm checking off Ethan here. All right. You ready now, Jimmy?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, can you hold it close to the camera? Okay, Jimmy, good. Again, that gizmo that Jimmy has got makes it a lot easier to do your knots. I'm gonna try and build one of those myself because you're gonna be doing a lot more knots while you're in the Scouts, and it'll be helpful for you. Okay, now we're gonna test everyone on the taut line hitch. This is what the taut line hitch, the steps look like. Okay, let's start at the top of the list. AJ is going to be the first to do the taut line hitch. Just 1 second. Erica's going to hold the stick for him. Okay, good. You notice there's 3 loops when you get the knot finished. I thought we were going to have a problem there for a minute. Good job. Okay, next on the list, Philip. Can you do the taut line hitch?
Yes, I can.
Let's watch it then, please. Just to let you guys know, we're recording this meeting so that we can publish it, and other people that missed the meeting today can watch it later.
Like this.
Hold it up close. Okay, good, Philip. Max and Gab are still absent. Next one on the list is Jimmy. Taut line hitch. Can you do it, Jimmy?
Like this?
Excuse me? Okay, pull it up tight. I want to see the 3 loops. I don't think you got it yet, Jimmy.
I think not. I think I didn't get it. I think I didn't get it.
Okay, I think you're going to need to practice that one, Jimmy.
Yeah.
We'll give you a chance to do it next week.
Okay.
Okay, Ethan, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
What did he say?
Can you pull it tight?
No.
You've got 3 loops there.
Yep.
Okay. All right, Ethan, thank you. All right. Is there anyone else that wants to do the top line hinge? Victor, have you got a camera? Victor?
Yes.
Okay, good. Leave your camera on, please. Have you finished Tenderfoot, Victor?
Nope, sir.
Okay. Have you been tested on the knots before?
No, sir.
Are you ready to try the knots or you're not ready?
Not yet, sir. Still practicing then.
We'll give you a chance next week. Kevin, is your camera working? Kevin? All right, guys, the next thing I want to talk about is the 10 most deadly plants in the Philippines. And I'm not going to read all these slides to you. I'll give you an example though. When I was a kid, where I grew up in the States, about the most dangerous plants are poison ivy, poison oak. And they make you itch real bad. And we had a big field beside my house, and every year my father would burn the old grass. And what happened one year, there was a lot of poison ivy that was growing in that field. And when he burned the field, of course, it burned the poison ivy also. And all those fumes of the itchy plant went in the air and the smoke. And I had a neighbor kid who was about my age, 10 or 11, and he was very allergic to the poison ivy. And after we were out playing as he was burning the grass, and after a few hours, my neighbor, he swelled up like a pumpkin. His head swelled up so bad he couldn't open his eyes, and he was itchy all over. So I'm just telling you, there's plants out there that will cause you problems, anywhere from being itchy or to the point that they could kill you. So in the Philippines, we have more dangerous plants than we do in a lot of places because of the tropical weather. Now, these slides, I'm not going to read it all to you, but it's important that you look at the picture of the plant and try to remember those so you avoid them in the future. And some of them look like pretty common plants that I've seen before in the Philippines. The first one is the buta buta, which is a Visayan word that means blindness. And this tree has a milky juice. If you get the juice on you and you rub it in your eyes, you can go blind or you lose your vision. And it also causes you to blister and itch. Now, some people have used this plant, and I guess they boiled it to get the poison out of it, and then they dump it in the water so they can catch fish easier. Next slide, please. Now, some of these Tagalog words are hard for me to pronounce. This is the talam bune tree. And again, this one, if you take the plant and boil it, poison comes out of it. In China, it's been used to mix with tea to try and kill someone. Next slide, please. This is the Dieffenbachia plant. Now, this particular plant, I've seen it around all the time. I've seen some people have them in plant pots in their house. This particular plant, if you bite it or it gets in you, excuse me, you bite it and the crystals get in your system, it'll cause you to drool, your mouth to swell up, severe swelling, and it's very painful. So be careful around this. The rosary pea plant. This one's easy to recognize with the red berries that are on it. And it can kill you. Only a little bit of this plant can kill you. So be careful with the death pea or the rosary pea. Number 6 is the castor plants. And again, I think I've seen this one growing in the wild. It's very common in most of Asia in the hot areas. And you can extract a toxin called ricin, which is very, very poisonous, and it can kill someone. Number 5 is the wolf's bane. Again, a drop of this can kill you. It's very easy to recognize this plant. In Japan, they used to use the poison from the plant on arrows to kill animals that they were hunting. Next slide, please. The English yew, another poisonous plant, easy to recognize. It's got red blossoms. It's on a bush type growth. A lot of the birds enjoy it. And just 50 grams of it's enough to kill a human. Next plant, please. The belladonna. Again, an easy one to recognize with the blueberries. They're sweet, and if a kid eats them, they think they taste good, and they could eat more of the berries, and they can end up killing him. The trumpeta. If you get this on you, Let's see, I'm reading the slide here now. It accelerates the heart rate, can give you a heart attack, which can be fatal. And only about 4 grams of the leaves can be fatal to a young child. Next slide, the last one. The pong pong plant. You can see the blossom here. It's famously known as a suicide tree. People have eaten this or ingested it to commit suicide. Next slide. Okay, now one of the requirements that we have to do is we talked about first aid last week. We want to talk about some of it, and we're going to go around the classroom here. We want to talk about some of the things that we can do to prevent using your first aid kit. Philip, you're always good for comments. Can you tell me some of the things that we can do to avoid cuts and scratches when we're camping?
To avoid cuts and scratches, you have to look where you're going and make sure there isn't any twigs on the floor, and to make sure there's no twigs, because you might fall on them and then they can cut you. So just make sure there isn't any, so the risk of getting injured is going to be lower.
Okay. Austin, what can we do to avoid blisters? Blisters on our feet.
You can wear 2 pairs of socks on your feet so that the cushioning is more secure around your feet. So that,
Who's
like,
answering?
yeah.
Oh, Austin, I'm sorry, I meant Ethan. You've
Oh,
already done this, Austin. Ethan, tell me about how you can avoid blisters.
You can avoid blisters by covering yourself with extra clothing or having like looking where you're going and just
How do you prevent blisters on your feet?
by wearing like 2 socks
Right,
and boots.
okay. Jimmy, how can you prevent sunburn?
By putting sun lotion and bring it with you.
Okay, suntan lotion, right?
Yeah.
Anybody else have any good ideas how to prevent injuries? Adrian, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Have you finished Tenderfoot, Adrian?
Huh?
Did you finish Tenderfoot?
Not yet, sir.
Not yet. Okay. Gab, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Tell me something we can do to prevent injuries so that we don't need to use our first aid kit. Can you think of something?
I want to think of something just a sec.
Could stay away from the poisonous plants, right? Okay, next slide, please. All right, one of the things we're supposed to do for Tenderfoot is assemble a first aid kit. And there's a list in your scout book of the items that go in the first aid kit. Look at the next slide. Now, I'd like you to have this first aid kit when we do our virtual camp out. I'm going to ask you then to see it. And I want you to get in the habit of having your first aid kit with you when we actually do scouting stuff outside. In the scout book, the items that are listed that should be in your first aid kit are Band-Aids, sterile gauze pads, small roll of tape, moleskin. I've not seen it available here, and you would use that to treat blisters. There's also a breathing barrier that's listed so that if you give someone artificial respiration, you don't come in lip contact with them. And I don't see those available here. Small bar of soap, antibiotic ointment. So if you cut yourself, you can put it on the cut so it doesn't get infected. Next one is hydrocortisone cream. And you use that in case you have itch. You can rub that on to treat it. It also recommends you have scissors and a pair of tweezers in case you get a splinter. The next one, I'm not sure why it's in there, but it's listed as 6 pairs of disposable gloves. I guess it's if you're treating someone so you don't get infected. And also a pen and paper. Next slide. These are optional items, a cold compress. If you sprain something, you can put it on the sprain. A space blanket to stay warm, duct tape, garbage bag, and gallon-sized Ziploc bags. Okay, again, I'm going to recommend that you go on Shopee and you buy this first aid kit that costs 115 pesos and add the hydrocortisone cream and triple antibiotic cream to the kit. And you'll be complete for our camp out. So get with your mom or dad and get this first aid kit before we do the virtual camp out on 27 March. Next slide, please. Another good thing that you can have is this app, which is on Google Play. And the app is done by the American Red Cross. And that's what the logo looks like on the left. It'll be on your screen. And the next 2 pictures to the right of that are just pictures of the menu of the different things that the first aid app talks about. And it has short videos in there that will help you treat those kinds of injuries. So again, I recommend you download that. Okay, that's our information for today. What questions or comments do you have? Any questions or comments? Joshua. Joshua, have you finished Tenderfoot?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm gonna have to get a more accurate list who's finished. So Adrian is not finished. And Victor is not finished. Okay, there's no questions. Again, for you guys that missed last week, I'll post a video later this morning and you can catch up. Gab, after the closing ceremony, I would like you to stay here and show me how to do the double half hitch and also taut line hitch. Kevin, are you there? Kevin? Okay, Jimmy, would you go ahead and do the closing ceremony, please?
Okay. Everybody mic's on. Unmute. May the great Scoutmaster of all scouts be with us meet again.
We'll meet again. 245 dismiss.
Dismiss.